You're being programmed.
Big Pharma needs sick people to prosper. Patients, not healthy people, are their customers. If everybody was cured of a particular illness or disease, pharmaceutical companies would lose 100% of their profits on the products they sell for that ailment. What all this means is because of modern medicine is so heavily intertwined with financial profits culture, it's a sickness industry more than it is a health industry. So, what is commerce? Traditional commerce may be defined as, from Webster's Revised or Unabridged Dictionary, commerce, noun, the exchange or buying and selling of commodities, especially the exchange of merchandise on a large scale between different places or communities, extended trade or traffic. Now that doesn't seem too sinister to me. Then I looked at another etymology, and how they worded it just made me go, wow. So remember, they think we are the property, which they do, don't they? So look at commerce on this etymology. 1530s, social intercourse. 1580s, interchange of goods or property. They think we are the property. So now how sinister does that sound? Trade, especially trade on a large scale by transportation between countries or different parts of the same country. From French commerce, 14th century, from the Latin commercium, trade, trafficking. Wow. So when you can see when I'm talking about organ trafficking, blood bank trafficking, adrenochrome, stem cell trafficking, it is wow. So it's in commerce. So the staff is a symbol of commerce, so it's a symbol of trafficking, and it's on hospitals, X amount of hospitals. It's just like a basic sign saying, yep, we traffic from here. It's crazy. Just look at it. You can't get any more blatant for me personally. So let's finish it off. So I've just talked about the trafficking from com, with, together. Merchandise is also the name of a card game very popular in the 1770s and the 80s. As a verb, have dealings with, 1590, related, commerce, commercing, and obviously market, black market, etc, etc. So you can see, wow, this etymology just raised a few eyebrows for me, because if it's a medical symbol, which we know it's not, why would the connection with commerce? So you can actually see, so that symbol is, as we know so far, that I've showed you so far, is obviously linked to commerce, thieves, etc. That just, when you put that together, and then we talk about commerce, we talk about blood organs and the black market, etc., it just makes you go, wow. So to finish off this about the commerce bit, so the thieves and slavers use the symbol of the Caduceus or the Caduceus for commerce, and we know what that means now. That just blew me away. So just here's a little selection of more banks or old buildings that were banks with the symbol on it. It's a mind blower, and I only put a few in, but it's more in your face. Now I showed you the Bank of England had it before on the doors, but inside there's more. There's loads of mosaics with them, the Caduceus or Caduceus on it. Just blew me away. They've even tweeted about it from the museum, telling people how wrong they've got. It's telling you it represents commerce and exchange. Is it just money they're exchanging, or is it bodies, slavery, organs? Has it been going on for that long, and this is a symbol for that? Just a mind blower, isn't it? Here's another bank, but this time it's separated. It's one snake, but still the similar symbol, a bit like this Asclepius, that one, but it's there. Look who has shares in this bank. Edmund de Rothschild. These people get about, and banks are involved. One of the old companies, the East India Company, did deal in slavery. Look what I found on one of their warehouses that's no longer there. It's just on the doors, the gateways, the portals to the building. The Caduceus, the Caduceus. Just a mind blow when you start to think, could it be something different than we're all thinking? And in this video, I'm just going to try and cover most other things and theories in regard to the Caduceus or the Caduceus. So let's rewind and let's talk about the Hippocratic Oath, because it's got to do with medicine. So when we talk about taking an oath, this is what people generally think happens. It's not lawfully binding, but in medicine, they take what is known as the Hippocratic Oath after Hippocrates. He didn't write it, yet it's named after him because he's a so-called father of medicine. The reality is that not just the oath, but the 60 or so other ancient Greek treatises on medicine that we call the Hippocratic Corpus are all anonymous. They were written over many centuries and in different Greek dialects. They also have different ideas about the body and healing. So scholars today are basically clear that they can't have all been written by the one person. So let's have a look at the Hippocratic Oath. so-called named after Hippocrates. So here we come to the Hippocratic Oath. Now there's so many out there you can choose. I've chosen this one, and I'll read a little bit through and we can just have a look of what they basically say. What's intriguing me is the first line. I swear by Apollo the physician. Now, are they talking about Apollo the god? Because Apollo the god is none other than the entity that is Janus, who has two faces. So could the Caduceus be that? Just that in your face? Now I'll show you a little clip from an old video just quickly talking about this. Recently I have read a passage that speaks of the work by Macrobius from his work Saturnalia, in which he ascribes Janus essentially as being a composite whole of Apollo and Diana, who is Artemis, stating the providence of Apollo and Diana over the doorway of the streets. This makes quite a bit of sense to me, and is something I have been leaning towards. I've read two descriptions of Janus, two-faced, somewhat aniconic form. One describes him as being a youthful face and bearded face representing youth and age, thus the passage of time and the doorway of which he oversees. The other descriptor states that the two faces are gender opposites, one masculine and feminine. And this is just from a little bit of a passage, just showing you that someone is talking about the connection between the two. So a lot of people believe Apollo is a Janus, as you can see from that last clip, and there's more clips in other videos that I've done. What's funny is you got I swear by Apollo the physician and Asclepius. Asclepius is Apollo's son. So again, could it be the case of Asclepius as the rod of Asclepius with one snake, and when it's in union with his dad, it is the Caduceus? That's just ideas that I'm thinking of because of the both related in some form. It's sort of like incest, isn't it? You know, there's gods of gods and gods and the sons of brothers or sisters. It's everywhere. So let's carry on. So I swear by the Apollo the physician and Asclepius and health and all heal, and all the gods and goddesses, that according to my ability and judgment I will keep this oath and stipulation to reckon him who taught me the art equally dear to me as my parents, to share my substance with him and relieve his necessities if required, to look upon the offspring in the same footing as my own brothers, and to teach them this art, if they shall wish to learn it, without fee or stipulation, and that by precept, lecture, and every other mode of instruction I will impart a knowledge of the art to my own sons and those of my teachers, and to the disciples bound by a stipulation and oath according to the law of medicine, but to none others. I will follow the system of regimen which, according to my ability and judgment, I consider for the benefit of my patients, and abstain from whatever is deleterious and mischievous. I will give no deadly medicine to anyone if asked. Now this is an intriguing thing, because in these days suicide and help by doctors was rife. So I just want a little add this to this bit, because they say they're not going to cause any harm or basically help people to kill themselves, suicide. But in Rome and in that era it was rife, and you can see from this extract, basically in English at the bottom it says, so it is in mercy did she, the earth, generate the potion whereof the easiest drought or drought might painlessly just blot us out without injury to body or loss of blood. So suicide was helped and done by doctors. Some scholars and doctors reckon it's just a mistranslation, a miswording. So doctors did help to ease people's pain by giving them potions of basically poison to basically kill them. So suicide was rife in this time, and there's loads of examples of this. Here's one more account of suicide, and from Galen. How then is it not shameful that a man with a perfect constitution should not have to be carried by others on account of gout, or should he be tortured with the pain of calculus, or suffer pain to the colon, or have an ulcer in the bladder from indigestion? And how is it not shameful that on account of extreme arthritis he should be unable to use his own hands and needs someone else to put food into his mouth and attend to his toilet necessities. For it were better for anyone not an utter coward to choose 10,000 times to die than to endure such life. So they're just showing you an example of how doctors did assist with suicides in that time for a period in a lot of pain. So it shows you the big contradiction straight away of the Hippocratic Oath. And also you can see the back way of that last comment: I consider for the benefit of my patients and abstain from whatever is deleterious and mischievous. I will give no deadly medicine to anyone if asked. So we're talking about big pharma being big business, and obviously the stuff that gets sold, not to treat the problem but to treat the symptoms, and obviously the pandemic vaccines. So you can say in both ways, if they actually truthfully believed in the oath, they would not give a vaccine that has not been tested, etc., etc. And you can just see the hypocritic nature of the Hippocratic Oath being two-faced. So you can see how the Janus link again. Because think about it, I've just showed you the hypocritic nature of the Hippocratic Oath. That is a sentence I've probably got the wrong way around. But we have a lot of things going on in the States, particularly about abortion in this past week. And then you read the next line. So if it says, and in like manner I will not give to a woman a pesticary to produce abortion, with purity and with holiness I will pass my life and practice my art. So you're saying in the Hippocratic Oath, it tells you they won't do abortion. So you can just see how the nature of it is and what's going on in especially the States in a minute, because it's in the press, isn't it? So right, I'll just carry on and read the last bit now and see if I can do it all in one go. So the last bit is, I will not cut persons labouring under the stone. This is talking about masons, but will leave this to be done by men who are practitioners of this work. Could it be? I just don't know. Into whatever houses I enter, I will go into them for the benefit of the sick, and will abstain from every voluntary act of mischief and corruption, and further from the seduction of females or males, or free men and slaves, whatever in connection with my professional practice or not in connection with it I see or hear in the life of men, which ought not to be spoken of abroad, I will not divulge, as reckoning that all such be kept secret. While I continue to keep this oath unviolated, may it be granted to me to enjoy life for the practice of this art, respected by all men in all times. But should I trespass and violate this oath, may the reverse be my lot. So you can just see how very hypocritical the oath is in regard to some of the things it talks about being practiced and not practiced, considering in the time it was practiced. Now, whether that is a mistranslation or it's been done on purpose or it was just down to the people. But, assisted suicide was a lot in this time period. You can find everywhere. It also talks about abortion, and obviously we have that in the present minute. So you can just see the very hypocritical nature of the Hippocratic Oath, considering the guy didn't even write it, Hippocrates. Do you know what I mean? And it's all anonymous. So, it's like a weird kind of agenda telling you to swear to Apollo. The first thing it tells you to swear to is Apollo, which is linked to Janus, who always likes to go first. It's like a pact, it's like a covenant. So it's just weird, isn't it, in its nature? And I just thought, I have to include this because I'm talking about this, the Caduceus and Asclepius. They always get mistakenly, and that's what I'm going to go on to talk about now, and a few other things. So the rod of Asclepius has been used as a medical symbol in the States for a long time. As you can see, various medical associations here, from Canada to Arkansas to Arizona, they've all used it. Even the National Medical Association has it as a symbol since 1895. So why is the Caduceus or the Caduceus used? Could it be the fact that the medical corps brought it in? Now, they used the Caduceus throughout the Civil War, and basically what they did is in 1902 they formally adopted the the Caduceus or the Caduceus in 1902. Now the story goes they blame a clerk for using the wrong symbol. So they blame him for using the Caduceus. Now we have the Public Health Service from 1798 using the Caduceus. As you can see, it looks like DNA, and I know about DNA, folks. And obviously this is the US Surgeon General's logo. It's one and the same. So they're trying to say that the reason the Army Corps used the Caduceus was a clerk filed the wrong drawing, for the not for the pattern, but for the design. Even though everyone around them was using the Rhodus Asclepius. That's why I'm saying it doesn't fit right with me. They obviously used it and used it for a reason. So, remember from the beginning, the Caduceus is known as a wand. Who uses wands? And you can see from the screen it gives it away. A witch or a sorcerer. Now most of you'll know where this is going. Now what else in medicine is tied to witches and sorcery? Here's a few seconds to gather your thoughts and guess. If you didn't already know, you'd be screaming at the screen. So what if I said the word pharmakeia and then it gives it away? Pharmakeia means pharmacy, sorcery and witchcraft. So let's have a look at this in more detail. The use of administering of drugs, poisoning, which I showed you was rife at the beginning by doctors, what classes as doctors, sorcery, magical arts, often found in connection with idolatry and fostered by it. I can't say that word. Metaph, the decisions and seductions of idolatry. Now, if you know what that word means, it's basically worshipping a cult image or an idol. That's the wand. So it appears in Revelation, and it talks about this that you can see on the screen. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by the pharmakeia were all nations deceived. Revelation 18:23. Now there's various other versions of it, and I'll just use two as an example because I didn't want to read them all out all day. So it talks about the light of the lamp shall not shine in you anymore, and the voice of the bridegroom and bride shall not be heard in you anymore. For your merchants were the great men of the earth, for by your sorcery all the nations were deceived, and in her was found the blood of prophets and saints, and all of who were slain on the earth. So you can just see how intriguing it is, the word sorcery, and that's tied to pharmakeia and the translation, because obviously there's that many translations of it, but it just dawned a picture of the worshipping a wand, and all that's tied to medicine and the Caduceus. So when you look into pharmakeia, it nearly gives you this place because there's only a letter out. Pharmakeia is the E, or Therapia was a town in ancient Thrace. Therapy is supposedly come from there. Now what made me go was the fact they, Thrace, had a king called Rhesus. And hearing that king's name got me thinking of blood rhesus, positive and negative. Just a thought. And so I thought, could this be the two serpents representing the RH negative and the RH positive, the plus? It's just an idea. Could it indicate a bloodline, as some believe? Or could it represent the serpent seed? There's a lot of people who believe that. So, could it represent the serpent seed, the dual seed, or the two seed line? A controversial religious belief which explains the biblical account of the fall of man by saying that the serpent in the Garden of Eden mated with Eve, and that the offspring of the union was Cain. This appears in early Gnostic writings such as the Gospel of Philip. So this is just a theory on what a Caduceus actually is. Could it represent the two bloodlines? It's just a thought. I thought I'd add it. So we've just been talking about the seed, and obviously the seed will be in the womb, and I'll get to the point I want to try and raise, but I have to show you this first. So the Caduceus in antiquity, Mercury's rod, a wand, and twisted by two serpents, born by Mercury as an ensign of quality in office on medals. The Caduceus is a symbol of good conduct, peace and prosperity. The rod represents power, the serpents wisdom, and the two wings diligence and activity. Now I want to include something that I seen yesterday, and it could be absolutely nothing, but I want to show you anyway, guys. Obviously it just mentioned wisdom, so hold that in your thoughts for a sec. So guys, this is my moment. Now you got Enoch on the picture here. Now if you read Enoch, I'm just going to read both out. The name of the fifth is Kashada. He discovered to the children of men every wicked stroke of spirits and demons. Now the bit I want to actually read out properly is 18. The stroke of the embryo in the womb to diminish it, the stroke of the spirit by the bite of the serpent, and the stroke which is given in midday by the offspring of the serpent, the name of which is Tabayet. Now Tabayet sounds to me like tablet. Even if you write it into a search engine, Tabayet, it keeps coming back. Do you mean tablet? Now that's just pure coincidence, or is it? It just, to me, it was too much of, I don't know what it was. You know what I mean? We're talking about serpents and different things, and wisdom in the last bit of the Caduceus, and it's a medical symbol. It's used as a medical symbol, and in Enoch it's talking about the offspring of the serpent, the name which is Tabayet. That to me sounds like tablet. It could just be me, and it's, like I said, it's not a fact or anything, but I just had to include that bit because of things like the morning after pill or the other tablets that is used for abortion. It's talking about the offspring of the serpent called Tabayet, and it's a tablet. That just might be me getting it all, wrong, but I had to include it to see what people thought. I mean, that does sound crazy, but ask yourself, where do you pick up your Tabayet, your tablets? I'll give you 2 seconds. Oh yeah, you pick them up from the pharmacy, the pharmakia. Definition, one of is poisoning and sorcery and magical art. Now it doesn't sound as crazy as it did before. As we've been talking about the Caduceus in spells, in sorcery and medicine, etc. What if it actually is a spell? Have a look at this. This is how they say you pronounce it, and it sounds like this. So I'll play what they say.
Caduceus, Caduceus.
And if you look at it, it's Caduceus. It sounds like, can you see us? Or when it is the Ka, is that the Egyptian Ka, the spirit or the soul? And what's interesting is this is Nehebkau, and just look at the images I've put on the screen, especially one on the left. He's holding 2 serpents and has 2 heads. I'm not saying any names, but he who binds 2 parts of the human soul together, the Ka and the Ba. Just look how intriguing. It does resemble the Caduceus. It does, doesn't it? And if you're thinking, well, he hasn't any wings. Well, he does. In other depictions, he has wings. So it's just intriguing. Could the staff be 2 parts of the soul? Or is it homage to him, one of the gods of the underworld? So in the final section, I want to just go over a few other theories that people have on what the Caduceus is, or the Caduceus. This is Ningishidza, and as you can see, it's basically quite identical to it. He is a god of the underworld and patron of medicine, so you can see why that has been used. And he is supposedly the son of Ninazu, but he was also the son of Enlil, some say Erishigal, so you can see it. And in here they're saying he's the son of Enki. It's just all over the place whose dad and son it is. If you zoom in here, this is in his human form. He has 2 serpents, 2 snakes as heads. Here's a drinking vessel, which you'll have all seen while researching various topics. So it does look like the symbol of the Caduceus, or the Caduceus. Now a lot of people will say, oh, it looks like the DNA helix. But the DNA helix that we see here is basically just a model. And what we're seeing today is not a representation of that. What you're seeing on the screen now is a pencil sketch of the DNA double helix. And this was done by Francis Crick in 1953, and it was based off this, an X-ray diffraction image taken of DNA by Rosalind Franklin and Ray Gosling, and the X-shaped pattern in the image meant it was a double helix. That's what they're basing all this off. And here's the X-ray crystallography. I can't pronounce this. Crystallography. So there you can see is what the experiment shown and gave. And what we're seeing now is, according to this, in November 2012, DNA directly photographed for the first time. So that is what they're saying the DNA looks like. So not what you've been shown for years and years and years, which we all knew. And the last image, it says a bundle of DNA is supported by 2 silicon pillars. 2 pillars? The 11, the doorway. Ooh, who could that be? I just thought I'd share that with you because I just thought it was intriguing. So some people believe it's a DNA helix, so that's why I've just shared that with you. So while we're in ancient times, let's have a look at this. Could it be Amun-Ra? Because look, this is what I found on the left. To me, it does strikingly resemble the Caduceus. I mean, it's a shrine for the great deity Amun-Ra, but the goddesses Mursaka and Alithra in the form of snakes on either side of the door. I know, there's a lot of things to do with door, isn't there? And I'm not saying Janus just quite yet. Oops! So as you can see, Amun-Ra in the centre could be the staff. You have the wings above his head and on the staff, and the snakes either side. To me, it is strikingly a similar type of design. I know it's not a rod, but Amun-Ra is the rod, which rod backwards is door, D-O-R. I'm just thinking out loud. What do you guys think? Do you think it resembles what I'm showing you on the left? In medieval times, they thought the Caduceus was Azoth, or they used that as a symbol as the Azoth. Now, Azoth was considered to be a universal medication or universal solvent, and was sought for in alchemy. So it's an alchemical symbol. Now, the alchemic name for mercury, especially when regarded as the first principle of all metals, the panacea postulated by Paracelsus, which is the panacea is Asclepius's daughter. That's what he was postulating on. And obviously Hermes' wand or staff. Hermes in Roman times was known as Mercury, and also someone else with 2 heads, but we'll not mention that just yet because I'm going to be talking about that as well soon. Right, guys? So I thought I'd add to what I've just read out basically, because it wasn't too much, and obviously something I might look into more, deeper in the future. So Azoth was considered to be the universal medication or universal solvent, and was sought for in alchemy, similar to another alchemical or alchemical idealized substance, alkahes. Azoth was the aim, goal and vision of many alchemical works. Its symbol was the Caduceus, believed to be the universal solvent, universal cure, and the elixir of life, elixir vitae or vitae. The Azoth is said to embody all medicines as well as the first principles of all other substances. The Azoth is believed to be not the animating energy, spiritus animatus of the body, and the inspiration and the enthusiasm that moves the mind. The Azoth is believed to be the mysterious evolutionary force responsible for the drive towards physical and spiritual perfection. Thus, the concept of the Azoth is analogous to the light of the nature of or mind of God. So you can see that from the picture, that's an illustration of the Azoth, another one. So it's a very interesting symbol and pictures and descriptions of what it actually is. It's really interesting, and again, like I said, I might look into this more, in the future more. So because the Azoth is believed to contain the complete information of the whole universe, it is also used as another word for the philosopher's stone. One of the hints for the theatrical preparation of the stone is ignis et Azoth tibi sufficient. Fire and Azoth are sufficient. There are scores of esoteric drawings depicting the Azoth and how it is used in the Greek work of alchemy. The term was considered by occultist Aleister Crowley to represent a unity of the beginning and ending by typing together the first and last letters of the alphabet of antiquity, which is A, Aleph, the first character in the Phoenician alphabet, Z, Zeta, the final character in Latin, O, Omega, the final character in Greek, and Tav, or pronounced Tau, the final character in Hebrew. And that blew me away when I read that bit, because guys, as you know, who is also known as the Alpha and Omega by these guys? None other than Janus, or the entity is behind Janus. Janus has two physical heads, what we can see. He's the beginning and the end. He looks both ways. It's just mind blowing, isn't it? In this way, permutation, something like that, and totality of beginning and end symbolise the supreme wholeness and the universal synthesis of opposites as a cancellation, i.e. solvent, or cohesion, i.e. medicine, and in such a way is similar to the philosophical absolute of Hegel's dialect. Crowley further made reference in his works referring to Azoth as the fluid, calling it the universal solvent or universal medicine of the medieval alchemical philosophers, as a unifier or unification of a certain extreme instance beholden to a contradict, unreconcilable nature if otherwise so, apart from the philosophical ideas of Azoth. Sorry for some mispronunciations there, but you know, I try my best. But it's intriguing, isn't it? Especially when you talk about the Alpha and Omega and the first and the last, and obviously the depiction of two faces. It's just intriguing, and like I said, I just wanted to add that to what I've already said. And some believe that Caduceus is the Kundalini. Obviously, Kundalini is a Sanskrit word meaning either coiled up or coiling like a snake, or coiled snake, which describes the energy that rests often dormant, coiled at the base of the spine. And obviously you got the chakras and different things like that. And the Caduceus is a symbol of that coiling nature. The coiling snake is thought to be an ancient symbolic representation of that Kundalini physiology. So, you know, it's just an intriguing, this add to the other things. It just shows you it's not just physical, it's spiritual as well. And there'll be a few more things I want to show. And hopefully you're enjoying the video, because I've enjoyed making it, even though it's took me ages. To break this section up, I'm showing you some custom flags from around the world. Obviously this one is from China, and you can see it has the Caduceus. This one I believe is in Vancouver. And you have a couple of Ukrainian ones coming up. This one's from Balta. It's funny is that these two places have stem cell places. That's just a coincidence too. So you have two from the Ukraine. This one's from Brisbane in Australia, which was a bit funky. Once I saw that one come in. And this one's from Russia. So that was just an intriguing little thing, just to break that little section up and just show you, or I want to emphasise on the custom bit in regard to the Caduceus and the organs and different things I mentioned earlier on. Mithraism, the worship of Mithra or Mithra, and the Iranian god of justice, contract and war in pre-Zoroastrian Iran. Also known as the god of light, whose cult spread from India in the east to as far west as Spain and England. Mithraism was the Freemasonry of the Roman world. That's what some believe. But you might be thinking, well, there's no serpent in this, no Caduceus. Well, there's another aspect to it, and it's known as Aeon, or Ion in Greek, is a Hellenistic deity associated with time, the orb or circle that encompasses the universe, and the zodiac Aeon or Aeon, god of perpetual time, eternity and zodiac. He's also known as Zervan, was perceived as the god of infinite time and space, and was also known as the One or Alone. Zervan was portrayed as transcendental and a neutral god, without passion, and one for whom there was no distinction between good or evil. Sounds like someone in particular. Although only one serpent wound round the body, because obviously the Caduceus is two, you can see why people have associated it with this, because obviously the wings. And obviously Aeon has something else in common, a certain deity I talk about just a bit. So you can see why people think it's associated with Janus also being Aeon. As you can see, what have they both got in common? They have a cockerel, both near the feet. As you can see, they both have the rod, they both have the key. And you can see the Caduceus appear on the tablet or behind the cockerel on the image to the left. See? It's always connected. Now, what also do you see near the cockerel? You see a pine cone. The pine cone is the pineal. The occult name for the pineal is Janus. So you can see the connection right there. Here's an interesting link between this. I've showed you in many videos that Janus is a god of initiations. So what you're seeing on the left is an initiation, and you can see he's bending on his knee. Now here's the interesting link. Where I found Janus was in Genoa, and as you can see the city's current name derives from the word Latin meaning knee, Genua, plural Genua, but according to other theories could derive from Janus, because Genoa, like the god, has two faces. Obviously Janus is associated with Noah too, Genoa. But the interesting thing is I've showed you in many videos about the kneeling and how they took the knee and different things, and all these celebrities and famous world leaders do on a basis. It's an actual Janus ritual. It's an initiation, it's a plea, it's a nod the head. But what's funny is, and this is the wow, see the initiation on the left? That's an initiation to Mithras or Mithrism. So you can see how they both collide and join together. I just think that's a wow. Initiation, for one of the ceremonies for Mithrism is bending the knee, which you can know comes from Genoa, meaning Janus. Tell me that's not a wow and a great connection. So some of you be screaming at the TV, your phone, Baphomet, he has the Caduceus. And you'd be right. But if you've not watched my early videos, you know Baphomet is another name for Janus. And the actual Baphomet that the Templars worshipped was actually three-headed, not the Elias Levi's depiction that you're seeing on the screen with the goat's head. But obviously you know it's tied to the Vatican because you can see the staff. Well, Janus was the first pope. He is the keys of the Vatican. So you can just see, yes, the Caduceus appears there, and it does appear on the goat. The Baphomet is also tied to alchemy and rebus, meaning representing the union of the opposites, is one of the most famous symbols in alchemy, De Paschalis. It's funny that it says 56, which is actually 11, but I think that might be the year or something, or the page. Just crazy that. But also, if you're wondering what the actual letters on the words on his arms mean, it's solve et coagula, solution and coagulation, component elements being synthesized into a new substance and of the heavenly, thereby manifesting into the earthly. So obviously we mentioned Ezos before, and it's also, this is tied to alchemy as well with Baphomet. It's intriguing, though, isn't it? How they all tie to Janus and Rebus with the two heads, and obviously you have the two serpents. Just intriguing. It just blows me away. Now have a look at this. This absolutely blew my mind when I found it early in the week for this video. It's an old etching of basically the cardinal directions. I've showed you Janus is basically the cardinal directions, but look what it's got in hand. It's got a looking glass in one hand, and in the other, oops, two entwined serpents like the Caduceus. Could Janus be involved in the Caduceus too? There's an idea. So I want to finish up by showing you a few paintings that I found on a Kundalini site. It was called Anne-Marie, if you want to check it out. I've used that as an inspiration because when I was looking at it, you can obviously see what I saw. This is a painting by Abraham Janssen, and it's the resurrection. Now you have an archway, significance of that, but also look at what's on the archway. You have two twin serpent shapes, one on each side. That just Absolutely blew my mind. Now you got to ask, were these intentionally? Is it just the painting degraded? Who knows? You know, I'll leave it up for you people to decide. The next one is by Herman Scherderberg, and it's the Crucifixion. Now, what you're looking for, the twin serpent shape in the background on the flag. Again, that could be an accident, or are they intentionally done? I'll leave that up to you, like I just said. It's just mind-blowing when you just look at different. Here, you can find the shape at the back. I'll magnify that for you. So it's just mind-blowing to think about what these people use paintings for. Are they trying to hide a secret message? Here, it's very hard to spot, but you'll get it in a sec when I show you. Yep, there you go. The little statue or whatever it is on the top has it in his hand. The Caduceus. The next one, I think, is by Tiziano Vercelli, Titian, and in the flag, it's the shape the people are calling the Kundalini or the twin serpent. Here you have the Assumption of Mary Magdalene in Paris. Again, it's quite hard to see until you magnify. Again, who knows why they've done it? Is it just design? And this one is John the Baptist, the Church of St. Elizabeth of Hungary. And it's stained glass window, and you can see where the Caduceus or the twin serpent is. Again, round the staff. Is it just by accident? It's just mind-blowing. So now I'm going to go to my thoughts, and hopefully you've enjoyed this video, because I've enjoyed making it.
Yeah, they call me the black sheep. You know they call me the black sheep.
Hello and welcome. Right guys, hopefully you enjoyed that video. I think it's going to be the first of many on this topic, because I believe there's so much more to this. And I didn't cover everything I wanted to cover in this, but it's felt like forever since I've uploaded a video. I'm getting slower and slower and slower in my old age. I'm going a bit like a sloth. So I thought, you know what, that's a nice point to finish. And I've covered quite a lot in this video. Some stuff you might have not heard before, a lot of stuff you will have, but I've put together in my usual way I do. You know, it's a What the Flock Paul video by now. And here we go, guys. Here we go. So first of all, I'd like to say thank you for the support, the patience to everyone. It's been brilliant. Subscribers are going up, and that's only because you guys are sharing the videos, and you have the respect that you like what you see, and you like what I'm trying to portray. And I can't help but say I'm thanked and loved and humbled by all of it. And for all those new subscribers, hopefully you stay. Hopefully you like what you see. I've got loads of content. You just have to go down the list. Just click on videos. I don't know how it always shows up on your screens, but I have categories. Please go and take a look when I'm not uploading the video. I'm trying to get out there more and more onto channels, but it's hard obviously with position them in. I appeared on Rob, a Stoic Knight of Malta. I was going to say his nickname, now what we've named him, Mr. Thong. He invited me on last week, and I believe, well, hopefully touch wood, that I'm going on Rise Aboves this week also. So I'll put links and different things when I get it. Hopefully we'll see you in the live that I'm appearing this week. And for all those new subscribers, like I said, thank you for thank you for jumping on board to this madhouse. So guys, the topic this week was the Caduceus, or the Caduceus, how you want to pronounce it. It's in the press a lot lately, only in the fact that because we have the who have the rod of Asclepius as a symbol. And obviously he's linked to the true father of medicine, because obviously, as you know, we've got the Hippocratic oath, or Hippocrates, and some say he's the father of medicine, yet it's not the same guy. From research that I've showed you, it was just a normal guy, and they're just pushing that agenda, and he didn't even write it. So these things are all intriguing. So this is thought, you know what, while this is all coming up, I want to look at the Caduceus, because people generally put them up again and show, is it look at the serpents and different things in medicine. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to do a video on it. I want to see if I can find anything different look at it with my spin, and I believe I've done that. But I do have that feeling I have a lot yet to cover, because you can't put everything in a video. And I don't want to make a video. Some people always say, well, why didn't you put that in? Well, you've already watched it. So I don't know what you've watched or not watched. I just love doing my interpretation of videos, and this is my interpretation. So when we're looking at the rod or the staff or the wand, as it's known, the herald's wand, the Caduceus or the Caduceus, the twin serpents with the wings, sometimes with a pine cone on top, sometimes without. It's intriguing. What is it? Will we ever know what it is? What's its occult agenda? What's its hidden secret? And these things that we in the community always try and do and look at different topics. Yes, I do have a main background in my Janus research, and if I do make a video and I do see things that point that direction, I'll tell you. Some people don't like it. That's the problem. I'm not as a reporter of such. When I make a content, if I see there's a disagreement with a theory, I'll still post it. I like to put in people's different opinions in the videos, but I can't put every opinion in because the video won't be my own then. So when we look at it and you associate the symbol with the pharmaceutical companies, medicine, pharmacies, and you're like, why are they using it if it's well known that the symbol should be one staff, one serpent coiled around it? What is their agenda? And that's the intriguing thing. What is the agenda? Is it something I've covered? Is it something you guys will say in the comments? Will we ever know? Long pause for effect. Mad. So yeah, it's an intriguing video, and when you just look at the beginning, I showed you about medication. They're trying to keep us ill. Well, it's in the name. Big Pharma emphasize on the harm. We've all seen it. They're not there for our benefit. They're there to make money. They're a company. They're a business. Their only obligation is to their shareholders. We are their experiments. They want to keep us subdued, controlled, and ill. We're just their cash cows. So when you start looking at it a little bit different and seeing that, well, all the world is energy, vibration, and frequency, and everything that we speak and read and obviously and so on is a spell. And the symbol they chose for medicine is a wand. Who uses wanded but witches and sorcerers and warlocks? Or is that just a modern interpretation? Still, it's the use of a spell. It's still using and putting that image in our heads that they have wands. So there's the connection there. Then the symbols was used by merchants, thieves, and commerce. And you're like, why would you use a symbol for thievery for medicine? And then we put these together. They're not for our benefit. Just itch me eye there. And for any people that are a bit heads need wobbling, I do have eye conditions, hence the glasses. It's strange that you have to say these things, isn't it? Because people are messaging, oh, you're touching your eye. Do you know what that means? Yeah, I've got an itchy eye. Some people. So it's just intriguing when you put them connections together. Harm, thieves, murderers. Why would you use it? Then you got to it because it was used intentionally. I don't know if you've ever watched, is it Blade 3? And it's in different blades, but vampires have symbols that they use that they can only see on buildings and different things. And that's just what got me back to this. Is that what they're doing with this symbol? And that's why when I looked into the etymology of commerce to see it meant trafficking, trade. And I was like, wow. Wowzers. Because are they trafficking human organs, which we know happens? But is this a symbol for where they do it? Because if you see that on the building and you're in the club, you know You could go to that place, get a top up in your adrenochrome, receive an organ for your spirit cooking and whatnot. Makes sense, doesn't it? It's a like secret little symbol. You know it's on it because it's not on every doctor's. It's not on every hospital. It's on a percentage. And when you're looking at things and you know the agenda and you know they love to use the number 11, the doorway, the numbers in, you know, the percentage that use it add to 11, but if you had both, it's 101, which is 11. And you're like, damn! Can I make that up? And then you get people, oh, well, it's just a coincidence, use 11. Everything adds to 11. Everything adds to other numbers too. And it's the point that you're not taking into the context of what's being used. What if you're right? Could possibly be. But what if I'm right? And that's the lovely agenda, because you're putting everything again together. When I do my 11 posts, and if you ever want to follow me, or I'm on Twitter, What the Flock TV, please do. That's where I post stuff on a daily basis. Well, try to post stuff on a daily basis, like not just video links, but memes that I make and things that I see on a day-to-day basis, not just Janus based. And so please follow me on Twitter, What the Flock TV. So when you put these things together, could it actually be a symbol? And that's what I was talking about in the video, because when you look at some of the big places in history, like the East India Company, they were well known for trafficking humans. Well, if you're trafficking, you need a symbol for commerce and trade, and it's a Caduceus. It appears on the banks, it appears on warehouses for East India Company, and it's everywhere. Not just blood banks, actual banks. So that gets you into the thinking, is it the human trafficking, slavery, sex, body organs, black market, you name it? Is this what basically the symbol is for to be used? Is there a symbol that we've not even seen yet? Quite possibly. We have to be honest about it. But what if this is what I'm saying? If it's that so simple? You have an agenda. It's hidden in plain sight. And we always get the questions, oh, why are they using the Caduceus if the rod of Asclepius is the actual thing? Oh, it was a mistake done many moons ago, but it's not being changed. And it's like, why? Because there's an agenda for it to be used as another purpose. And that to me is very, very top of my list. Whether it's a point that I've covered, I just don't know. But it's crazy. 2 serpents and the rod. Well, look at it this way. And that's why I did my Janus stuff at the end. But look, just look at it. 2 serpents intertwine a rod. 2 serpents. 11. The rod. Rod backward is door. So there's a post. You have the door. And then you could say the wings could be something godly, or the heavens, or the above, or whatever. That is not, to me, a wow in your face Janus aspect. That just blew me away. And then when you put in the other things that I mentioned near the end, you're like, yeah, everything traces back to him. He's just the key. And it excites me when I see things and look at things with different eyes, because of the, like for instance, this video on the Caduceus. Now that the Janus is just the entity. It could be Enki and Enlil. It could be the Behemoth and the Leviathan. They could be all the one, you know what I mean? So there's so many different names, and as a community we get hung up. People accusing me daily, oh, use transfix with Janus. I'm not transfixed. Have a look at my videos. I've made so many videos without Janus in it, but if I see something and it has Janus in it, I'm going to tell you. If people don't like it, you know where the door is. It's that simple. It's mind-blowing. You know, we're entitled to look at things differently, and that is the beauty of it and the depth of the community. We don't let each other look with our eyes and see what we can expose. And unfortunately, it's never going to stop when we have people in the community who just want their way. So just think of it so far. You have farmer, harm, commerce, trade, trafficking, keeping us ill. You're like, damn. That just blew me away. And then you got in the fact that when you look at when I looked at briefly Enoch, and it talks about, where did I write that now? It's all going to disappear, and it talks about how the fallen taught humans how to kill, basically abortion wise, and it was called Tabayet. Was basically at midday, the midday sun. He was the offspring of the serpent, and it was called the bite of the serpent. So the bite of the serpent is what killed the embryos. Now, look at it this way, and this is just me saying what if. This is not me saying it's a fact or anything, but Tabayet. And we're talking about medicine and serpents. Tabayet to me sounds like tablet. Because when you was typing it in, it just kept coming up, and I thought, no way. Could it just be that obvious? Tablet, tabayet, farm, harm. Would you pick up your tablets, your tabayet, at the pharmacy, which is a place for witchcraft, sorcery, and to poison? That is a stretch, that, Paul. But it makes sense. If this is a place where witches, sorcerers went for their poisons, their remedies, the use of the wands and spells, and we're talking about something that is a bite of the serpent, offspring of the serpent, and that's obviously the thing that's entwined in the medical symbol that they've used, and it's called Tabayet. And these big pharmaceutical companies are trying to harm us and to kill us. And how did they use it? Tablets is one of the main things. The serpent right there. It's just my thing. When you put it all together at the beginning, you're like, wow. Really, that does sound like. And again, it's just a play with words, but the words are spells, aren't they? And I was just like, no way. You got a pharmakeia, which means poison, witchcraft, etc. And it's still used today to where you pick up your tabayets, which are prescribed to you by your doctors that you think are there for your benefit. Yet the Hippocratic oath is not about that, and it's been changed so many times, and it's patched together from 60 odd pieces of medical scrolls and different things, and he didn't even write it. And basically it's talking about how they want them to train and keep it in a little club like at the Masons, and they used to poison people and kill people regularly. That it was shown in other ancient scrolls, assisted suicides, and obviously sometimes it will be for people's benefits to poison them. So they would pick up the poison from the pharmacy, the pharmakeia. It's right in your face. So that was the huge one for me, that obviously is common sense as well. They're there to harm us. But that symbol, could that symbol be used? And people be saying, well, I'm a nurse, I'm a doctor, and I work at these places, and I don't do that. We're not on about all of you. Because everyone, unfortunately, gets tarred with the same brush. We do it not in the community. If you're in that type of community, you will get all tarred the same, yet you do think differently. It's unfortunate, but I can't go, well, and then person and that person is not, and this person and this person. Do you know what I mean? It's just a broad sense. And some people don't like me saying these things, like apologising for that. Just who I am. People just want to change you for their benefit all the time. But when you put all that together, it just blows you away, doesn't it? Then you look at the Hippocratic oath, like I was talking about, and the first oath and promise on it and covenant is to Apollo, the god. Apollo is tied to, yes, that god again, Janus. And the symbol they're using has two. Well, Janus has two physical heads. you can see how as soon as I see these things, I go, wow, I've known for Janus for a few years, and I've not looked at things individually like this. It just blows you away. And what blows me away as well is the amount of people that assisted the suicide. It was a regular occurrence. That just blows my, you know, because we're automatically, aren't we? We're automatically programmed and spellcast to think all doctors are good. They're just like anything in life. You have good and you have bad. Maybe that is what the Caduceus is. It's the spirit. It's good and evil intertwined. And that's why we see it on a daily basis, because both go together. So these things are all intriguing. And that's why when I've done videos on evil at your door, that I like to get shared about, we're talking about evil at the door, but it's also good at the door. And obviously it's twined around the rod. So it can be anything that there is dual aspect of. And that's the beauty of it. As I said, that's the beauty of it, because we need more ideas. One of these other ideas that people will suggest might go, and it creates that spark. And that's why I love doing what I love doing. So like I said, the first thing on the oath, that wasn't, again, it's like their agenda. It's like Pythagoras. He's the father of, you know, mathematicians and different things. Yet he didn't write one book. Didn't write one book. Well, how does everyone know about him? Exactly. From his school and other leaders, because he was the first. He thought himself was God also. And it's an agenda. He's the father of the Freemasons as well. Some of their practices are still used today. So you can see why certain individuals get, you know, elevated. For instance, hippocratic or Hippocrates. People think of him as medicine. Yet when I've looked in my research for this video, a lot, it's not just one, but a lot of people are saying the guy was basically a no one. So why is someone elevating him? Is it because of his story? It just makes you think, doesn't it? So when you put all them things together that I've mentioned, big pharma, poison, trafficking, could that be a sign for it? For these nefarious people? They go past the hospital or doctors. There's only one symbol on the door. No, I can't go there for me adrenochrome, me fix. Oh wait, there's two there. Can I just pop in there? And they have contacts everywhere. It's just an idea. It does sound outlandish, but you know, it's what we do. Well, especially what I do. So I just really enjoyed looking at this topic a little bit different. With all them things being it, tab 8, that still got me. But then you look at other things for it, and that's why I wanted to do a little bit of what I thought, mixing with what I've seen other people talk about, and then do my little spin on that. And then show a little teaser for at the end with the Janus aspects and maybe future video. Well, there will be videos on it. It just blows you away, because we all have a different opinion. And so will people in the so-called ancient times. We don't even know when when this was. Obviously, they're messing around with the calendars. Also, some of the other names that I mentioned was Nehebekow. He bound the car and the bar together, and obviously he held two serpents together. So your spirit, your soul, is that what the Caduceus actually is talking about? The battle for the car and the bar. That was an intriguing, and like I said, I've showed you that aspect before, because it's like joined with the IYI that I've done a few videos and talked about in many videos. Like I said, I'm doing my thoughts now, and I'm thinking of other things now. And I'm, dang, when to put that in, and that's what I would have been. I've been here all day, you know what I mean? And we just sometimes you just have to call it and rein you back. Paul, rein yourself back. So we had that Nebekow, and obviously I've done videos on the dendrolite bulb being an incubation. Could that be something to do with it? If you've not saw that video, check it out. It's called the Dendera Mystery. Then you had Azoth, the universal solvent and medicine. That was intriguing because obviously the alchemy aspect, which really came to fame, didn't it, from the medieval onwards, and how that is like the evolutionary force. Is it talking about energy? Is it talking about frequency? So there's all these things that we can think of. What is the actual staff and entwined serpent be? Because we had that bit with DNA, and a lot of people say it's DNA helix, yet we've never seen it. It's a model, it's a theory, it's a thought. It's never actually been photographed. And even the one that he said it was the first time it's been photographed in 1992, you can't really see what they're projecting as the helix. And people say, well, obviously the crystallography that I had a problem with, which is going through different things, and oh yes, it's an X, so it's got to be a double helix. And that was done in 1952, and it took another 40 years to get the first photograph, they say, using that technique. And then you still none the wiser. It just looks like a herd, doesn't it? But I had to put that in because I believe all theories, all topics have merit, because I'm not the judge or the juror. Then when I was looking into breaking up, I found some custom flags, custom and XRs and different things. And that emphasises more why it's more used for commerce, the Caduceus. And that's why I just showed you China's one. Brisbane one was whoa. I mean, I'm assuming that's to do with the Greek heritage that there is in Australia, but the same colours again that we see on Epstein's Island. It just blew me away, that. And then you had a couple from the Ukraine, and those places had stem cell labs. It just gets you, doesn't it, when you research and you find things and you're like, hey, you just want to look more into that, and you're making a video, and then you have these custom flags on it. So primarily the symbol is for commerce, and obviously thieves and guilds and merchants are all in that. So why use it? That's about my point. Why use it for a symbol that, if the Hippocratic oath, hypocritical means you're two-faced. Oh, bingo! When you're hypocritical, you're being two-faced. Damn, I just wish there was something out there that had two faces and someone was researching for our benefit, or confusing us even more, which is I always confuse myself, but you have to have a laugh at it, because life is hard, and we're up, we down, we're up, we down, we're up, we down. But just look at it, hypocrite, the Hippocratic oath, hypocrite, hypocritical, two-faced, saying it's this, saying and it's doing another. You're having a symbol used for thieves, commerce, trade, trafficking, and you're having it on doctors. Yet not all doctors or medical symbol places, establishments don't have it. And they were there at the same time that you so-called come up with the symbol in the first place, because it was done intentionally on purpose. So then you had things like Mithras, and then Mithraism, and then you had Aeon or Ion. And as you can see from Ion, which I think I might look at as well into the future, he had a cock, or it or she or whatever it is had a cock, had a key, a rod, and a pine cone. And it's associated with Janus also. And when I see things like this, it just validates what I've been researching it. Because obviously the two serpents and the Janus aspect, I'm not saying it's like Janus. Janus was just a key and the Roman name of the entity. The entity goes by many names. You can call it whatever you want, but it doesn't have to blow you away, because look at Ion. It stands above the zodiac. I've showed you. Janus had a statue standing over the 12 calends. So you can see the aspect and why these all get mismatched. When you're telling a lie for his story, which don't forget, his door, gate, and why Janus's history. So even that. So you can see my point why I get excited about it. And it's not the case if I go looking for it, but if I do a video, I'm going to just tell you what I see. It's my channel and it's your home. And that's why we you know, I love having you guys in it, because you know, when you're commenting, when I can read it, yeah, you're going to get a lot of videos, but that's just society, unfortunately. I was always brought up, if you've got nothing good to say, don't say anything at all. But, you know, this is the nature of the beast as such. So you can see all the similarities, and it just blows you away. And then, obviously, the pine cone is the occult name for Janus. And that's, you know, so you have to be fair. And then the initiation, I'm like, no, initiation for Mithraism. One of them, because like I said, I've just clicked on an image and it says this is one of the initiations for Mithraism, was kneeling. And we all see these leaders kneeling. Does that mean they get initiated? Well, they've already been initiated, but it could be paying homage. Kneeling, Mithraism, and it was said by a few sites that researched that it was like a Freemasonry of the Roman era, a secret club. Kneeling. Oh, if we only had a place and a person associated with kneeling, and that hypocritical nature of having more than one face. So you can see how I get excited, guys. And like I said, this is just the start of looking into the Caduceus, but I just found it very interesting and intriguing when you put the pharmakia, you put the tabayet, you put in the bite of the serpent all together, and you got a symbol in medicine that is using it, the twin serpent. Could it be like I was talking about? Could it be showing you the twin serpent, seed of Cain? That a lot of people believe in that. I also mentioned obviously the Leviathan and the Behemoth, which are sometimes associated with them also. The possibilities are just endless, because some of you out there will be saying something I've not even come across yet. And if I don't make this video, I don't see by YouTube what these are. It just, I get excited, and hopefully that comes across. I'm not pushing an agenda. I just look at topics. And when I look at a video, topic in a video, I will put anything in it. Anything. I don't have an affiliation to this or this. Things are going, and I'll contradict myself because I'm always learning and relearning. Could it be something to do with hidden knowledge? Because obviously snakes are not just for, obviously, they're associated with evil, but they're also associated with wisdom, and they're also associated with obviously healing because of shedding the skin, you know what I mean, and obviously some, but you know, when they grow the tails and different things. So we all have to agree that there is a lot of good reasoning on a lot of these theories, because they do make a lot of sense. But what in this reality makes complete, utter 100% sense, and it's not. We live in a world where the crazy is an everyday occurrence. And that also does excite me, but it also does scare me. Because we don't know what's next. That's the intriguing thing. So this, guys, is just like, it more than likely will be the first of many on this topic. I don't know when I'll do another on it, because I just go with the flow. I appreciate you guys keeping patience with me, because it is a while between each video, but you can see why. There's a lot of work goes into the videos, a lot of work. It's a sense of, I do my thing, you know, what my current things, and then any free time it's straight on here, not only for my mind, but because I love connecting with you guys. It keeps me partially sane. Right, guys, also I want to inform you that a lot of people still have been messaging me. I can't honestly, it is absolutely loads asking, please can we help you in any way that we can, and for a long time I've on a whole refused it. People have taken it the wrong way, like I'm shunning them, and it's not. It's just because I just wanted to keep it to the truth. And when money gets involved in different things, it changes you, but I'm not going to change as a person. So I've literally just set up a buy me a coffee thing. I'm not going to advertise it. I'm not going to put it in the chat. I'm not going to promote it. I'll always just put it in the video description or the about section on the channel, and that's it. I won't mention it again because I'm not being... It feels like I've been forced into it because people just want to help. And sometimes my pride and my ego, because we all have one, didn't want it, and my values. So hopefully this will appease people who do want to help. It's not, you know what I mean, it's just my nature. I've been brought up with no money, and I didn't want people giving their hand-earned money to something that I believe is a cause. But people do want to help. I've not, at the minute I can't get t-shirts. I was thinking about should I get t-shirts linked through the different things that we've seen on other channels, but you have to monetize, and I'm not monetizing my channel. So, you know, this seemed the next thing, and plus you can set it different, and I've set it to 1 so you can just see I'm not in it, but people just wanted to, and you know what I mean, leave me ego at the door as such. If people want to help, you know, I was saying to my daughter the other day, you should never refuse help. It's a big person that admits they need it, you know, publicly. And I can't say that and then people who want to help me refuse it just because of my core thing. So, like I said, it'll be in the description. It's not going to go in the chat because I don't want that to be why I do it. So there you go, guys. So hopefully you've enjoyed this bit different. So hopefully you remember, this is me, Paul, what the flock. It's been that long. Please check out the video that I did on Rob's channel. If I remember, it's in the description. I did that last week. Stoic Knights of Malta, but I always call him Mr. Thong. It's a private joke. And I don't know when this will go out. Hopefully this will go out before I go live with the guys from Rise Above. And I'll put that in the description, the community tab on the day. If you want to watch that, I'm doing a few hours on there. And like I said, if people do want me to come on the shows, it's not the case of people with loads of subs. I'll go on anyone's, but it's a case of I have to watch. You know what I mean? I'm not just going to go on a channel just because you've asked. Even though that's my soft nature, I used to do that. I just want to actually see, you know, because I have certain core beliefs and I'm open to everything, and I don't want to go on people's channel who's like completely opposite. I don't mind people having different opinions. That's not what I'm meaning, but you know, I have to feel at ease with going on someone's channel because I'm a fish. I forget half the time. So guys, take care. Always wear a smile. Keep on searching and researching. Don't let the barstools grind you down. Just try and enjoy it because life is so hard and we have to crack a smile and we have to have a laugh when we can. So hopefully you've had a little bit of both. Some weird thoughts from my head and you've had the odd laugh. Right guys, I'll see you in the chat. Take care, stay safe and always smile. Always wear a smile. Bye guys.